So this is actually the most important meeting that we've had so far as partners for our burgeoning little businesses. And I want to give credit here. This concept is not my own. I lifted this idea from a book called The E-Myth, which stands for the Entrepreneur Myth, by Michael Gerber, and it's been revisited. I believe was the recent version. But the way our business works is we have three brands, um, and the one that we're building out first is Sheehan Homestead. But we're actually founded as an education and business education company. So the way that we are separating that out is something called STEM on Call and Exec MBA on Call. So in corporate, there's something called fractionalized initiative or just the on call initiative. So a lot of companies can't afford a full time chief legal officer, as an example, or chief financial or director or compliance person. It could be anything. So they have someone on call in case they need it. And so it's good because it gives unique work opportunities to executives where they can be on call to three, four, five different companies, which is pretty interesting. So I just lifted that idea from corporate, and STEM on Call, the domain was still available, and even more surprisingly, Executive MBA, EMBA, all the thousands of people with that credential out there, and MBA on Call was owned, but not Executive or EMBA or Exec MBA. So we managed to pick those up. But in the E Myth, it's a really useful book. It was on a reading list that I picked up from Tim Ferris. And basically, it just talks about no matter how small the company is, there's a lot of jobs that need to get done. And someone has to be responsible. And there needs to be prioritization, because if you're only two people like we are, one day we hope to hire all of these roles and maybe more. But right now, it's just the two of us. And staying organized, especially with slightly different brands, can be quite challenging. And so you could see the Montessori here with the different color coding and the little legend that we have. But the other thing is there are high-level jobs, mid-level jobs, and kind of grunt work type of jobs. And in the E-Myth, the most enduring memory I have of that book is two people had a consultancy together. They were fighting all the time, and it was because they hadn't defined roles. And so they had a discussion. They figured out how to do that and divvied up the roles in a way that was suitable as far as their skills and that type of thing. And they were much happier. And so basically, what you're doing is you're decomposing yourself into multiple roles. Because, yes, it's really fun to be the executive. So you can see, we have high level jobs that we aspire to and we consider ourselves. We are the founders. We created these little companies. But until we're big enough, until we move out of the startup and perseverance phase into true viability and then scalability, where we can actually hire people, we're actually spending a good bit of time in the middle and even in the grunt. And so we've defined a bunch of roles. And one of the beautiful things is we share a lot of responsibility. We're able to delegate to each other things that are suitable to our skills. But also, we're doing a lot of grunt work together, too. So, in a way, we both work for each other. So, we both have high level jobs, and I work for her, and she works for me. And so, it's just a really, really nice thing. And this works really, really well with business. But also, this decomposition of the self can be pretty effective for personal relationships too. So if you look at even partnerships in more of a relational setting, sometimes one person will be more responsible for things that are more domestic or things that are more related to making money. So like creation of revenue versus maybe someone else is better with the budget. even if they're not making as much money, and so they're responsible for that. But this splitting up of roles and really defining what we're responsible for and understanding our pecking order and also creating a shared power structure where we both work for each other. We're all doing grunt work, and so you can see we both do our fair share of poo shoveling. So she shovels the coop out. That's just one of my non-negotiables. I'll shovel goat poop. I will clean up puppy poop, but cleaning out the coop is just where I draw the line personally. But also, I'm doing all the SDR work because I should. You know, I spent years and years learning to become a world-class SDR and SDR manager. I should be doing that. She's the master practitioner for all of the STEM on call work, you know, and STEM on call, we own STEAM on call. And sometimes they need English language tutors or an SAT tutor. And so I step in and do that. But I'm not a 10-year educator. So I view that as I'm the grunt. You know, I'm not a thought leader like she is. She has 10 years of New Jersey public school experience. I just have very high test scores and I'm pretty well read. We have to share a lot of stuff. We both do tours. We both sell T-shirts. We're both out in the street chalking up driveways, talking to strangers, attending networking events. So this was really one of the most important meetings, if not the most important meeting that we've ever had together about our business. And since we've had this meeting, it's really improved the way that we work together. And more than that, it's just made work easier. It's made it easier to schedule things. We enjoy working together. Not that we didn't before, but even more now because we're just getting really comfortable stepping into each of our respective roles, which is pretty excellent. And so really glad I read this book a bunch of years ago and that we were able to use something that I learned from reading a business literature book on the Q train and the N train many years back. And really, really useful stuff, and just wanted to share it because it was powerful for us and maybe it'll be useful for other folks as well.